Yes, Ugandans are complaining, and actually, I think they do have a valid point. They argue that it is unfair to sanction the juniors and leave the master untouched. Are there any precedents or legal frameworks that could be applied in the case of Museveni? Should there be a concerted effort to sanction him? How might such efforts be viewed in the broader context of international law and diplomacy?
Well, I don't think people should be frustrated that the junior people are being attacked. First of all, the speaker is not junior. She's an important figure in the government. I think what's important to remember is that this is happening and is starting and is growing. That's the point. You know, you start smaller and you get bigger. So it's natural these governments will send a message focusing on some of the lower ranking people. Eventually that message will have to go higher and higher and will eventually reach those who are truly in charge of the abuses. So people should not be disappointed. You know, everyone likes to complain. That's true, right, JP? I mean, let's face it. In politics, everyone wants to complain. But you got to look at what's really happening here. What's really happening is a change in the attitude of the US and the UK, especially the UK. And the UK used to hold back and give Uganda a free hand because the UK had an old colonial interest there and sort of wanted to recapture that. But now the UK is being tougher. Going after the speaker was a big gesture. It's not a small gesture. It's not going after a junior. It's sending a message. People need to know the work we've done and are doing is taking root internationally. President Biden started off backing off on criticizing Museveni, but not anymore. Now we see he's cut out Uganda from the trade group, and they issued a direct, strong country report condemning broad human rights abuses, not by junior officials, but by the government that Museveni runs. These are big steps, so people in Uganda need to see it that way. And remember, things take a little time, but these are big steps, and they're growing out of what we started. What we started with the ICC and our international press conferences. So people need to remember those are big steps. But really, freedom is not won by complaining. You know, freedom's won by doing and taking action. You know, complaining might make you feel good, but it's not going to do anything. People need to start to say to themselves, I'll take action. I need to do that. And groups need to take action. And then eventually things change. Because there are still decent people in Uganda's government. And once the Ugandan people stand up, those people will begin to be stronger. And so it's important for people to gain liberty on their own. It can't only be done from the outside. It's got to be done from the inside too. And the first step, JB, is to stop complaining. Do. Don't complain, do.
Yes, Bruce, still on that note, what can you say about the issue of Museveni not sanctioned yet?
I'd say the word yet is right there. Eventually it will happen. And it has happened to leaders. It's happened to Putin. It happened to the leader of Serbia, who was actually not only sanctioned, but thrown in prison eventually. So eventually those sanctions will touch ground and where we want them to. This is a big step. And I will stress, JB, Britain going after the speaker and 2 ministers or former ministers, that is not small. Those are high-ranking officials. The U.S. issuing that country report is not small. It's a governmental condemnation of Uganda's government. And people need to realize, with the U.S. such a big military supporter of Uganda, for the U.S. to issue that report condemning Museveni's government, that is not small. That is big. And I think people in Uganda need to realize the work we've done is starting to take root. But Ugandans need to do that work too. Bobby's doing it, NUP people are doing it. We need ordinary Ugandans also to do it.
Yes, Bruce, as we wind up the show, let us